Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. By using our link, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. So, Naz, as a therapist on BetterHelp, what has your experience been like?
I've been doing it since January 2021, and it's been really fun and exciting. I've been able to reach clients all over the United States and the world. I've had good relationships. I've had folks that I've had for a couple months and a good handful where I've had for almost 2 years now. So it's magnificent. I've enjoyed my time and my clients. I love them.
Awesome. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel the most comfortable. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/DSP or choose Different Spectrums podcast during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Hey everybody, we back again.
Hey, we're back. We're live.
I'm Spencer. Of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Therapist. I'm a doctor, a certified doctor. I almost said proctologist. What's a proctologist? My dad said that's a butt doctor.
Stick your finger up your ass. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was talking about that yesterday. He said, "Glad you ain't a proctologist." All right, I'm done.
Only in your regular life. Anyways, remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's completely up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So today, we have two special guests for the show. They are a duo. They're showing their life on social media as a neurotypical and neurodivergent couple. They're also hosts of their own podcast called the Poisoner's Almanac Podcast. All about poisons, people. Welcome to the show, Adam and Becca James.
Hello.
Hi.
Glad to be here.
Hello.
Hello. Good to have you. Good to have you. Love that autistic hi. Hi.
Sorry.
Now go away.
We love it. We love it here. That's how we greet each other on a daily basis.
I mean, I don't even greet Spencer when it comes over. I'm just like,
even though we're in two different states, I fly in. I'm just okay.
Get in the car.
Thank you. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Get in the car. All right. So today we are talking about the show, The Big Bang Theory. Some topics that we're going to be talking about is having neurotypical friends. What does that mean? What does that mean? Social cues, specific routines. We're also going to be talking about friendship circles. Naz, anything before we get into the show?
I'm excited for this because it's about to be raining autism in here. You know, I was about to say it's raining men, but autistic men.
Hello.
It's raining autism. Hallelujah. But we're gonna have some fun today. There's some legit, really good scenes that we're gonna talk about. Two specific scenes, as Spencer mentioned. I'm gonna get their viewpoints, ask them some really good interview questions. We've got some random stories and how I came across their information. So that's a cute story.
What?
I can't, how I came across it or like how I got there. I don't know, whatever. I looked at this stuff. I'm what you call professional peeping Tom.
You sound like a creeper. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's what I was trying to say.
See, I know.
When I'm trying to be like, this is why I can't ever go on dates because I just be like, feet.
Hey, girl, I'm watching you. What?
I'm watching.
How
you.
long?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's research, all right.
Would you
A little
say
too
I'm
deep
also?
into
She
the
said I'm
research.
also a shrink.
Research.
Oh, research. See. Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, yeah,
It took me a second to
your
hear what she
background?
said.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna have some fun and let's try not to get canceled. Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop.
Go ahead, Adam. Nope, you did it. Now Adam's got to do it
Both
too.
y'all got a whoop.
Whoop. Sorry.
She did it twice. You can't give me one whoop. Who got
She
one
did.
whoop?
Whoop whoop.
Even
There
There you
numbers.
go. Yeah.
Sorry.
God.
Even
Yep,
numbers.
even numbers.
Even
Autism.
numbers.
Bugger. Jesus.
Wow.
God.
Calm
I'm
down
sorry.
over there.
Jesus.
Fucking
Cool.
I'm sorry.
Why do
All
y'all
the time. It's
exist?
okay.
Jesus.
Oscar the Grouch over there.
We know. All right, let's get into the show.
He's used to it. It's fine.
No, I said there.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Here we go.
In the winter, that seat is close enough to the radiator to remain warm, and yet not so close as to cause perspiration. In the summer, it's directly in the path of a cross breeze created by opening windows there and there. It faces the television at an angle that is neither direct, thus discouraging conversation, nor so far wide as to create a parallax distortion. I could go on, but I think I've made my point.
Do you want me to move?
Well,
Just sit somewhere else.
fine.
Sheldon, sit. Well, this is nice. We don't have a lot of company over.
That's not true. Guthrie, Polly, and Wallowitz come over all the time.
Yes, I know, but
Tuesday night, we played Klingon Boggle until 1 in the morning.
yeah, I remember.
I resent you saying we don't have company.
I'm sorry.
That has negative social
I
implications.
said I'm sorry.
So, Klingon Boggle?
Yeah, it's like regular Boggle, but in Klingon. That's probably enough about us. So tell us about you.
Me? Okay. I'm a Sagittarius, which probably tells you way more than you need to know.
Yes, it tells us that you participate in the mass cultural delusion that the sun's apparent position relative to arbitrarily defined constellations at the time of your birth somehow affects your personality.
Participate in the what?
I think what Sheldon's trying to say is that Sagittarius wouldn't have been our first guess.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think I'm a water sign. Okay, let's see. What else? Oh, I'm a vegetarian. No, except for fish. And the occasional steak. I love steak.
Well, that's interesting. Leonard can't process corn.
Well, so do you have some sort of a job?
Oh, yeah. I'm a waitress at the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, I love cheesecake.
You're lactose intolerant.
I don't eat it, I just think it's a good idea.
Oh, anyways, I'm also writing a screenplay. It's about this sensitive girl who comes to LA from Lincoln, Nebraska to be an actress and winds up a waitress at the Cheesecake Factory.
So it's based on your life.
No, I'm from Omaha.
Well, if that was a movie, I would go see it.
I know, right? Okay, let's see. What else? Guess that's about it. That's the story of Penny.
Well, it sounds wonderful.
It was. Until I fell in love with a jerk.
What's
God, 4 years I lived with him. 4 years. That's like as long as high school.
It took you 4 years to get through high school?
I can't believe I trusted him.
Should I say something? I feel like I should say something.
You? You'll only make it worse.
You want to know the most pathetic part? Even though I hate his lying, cheating guts, I still love him. Is that crazy?
Yes.
No, it's not crazy. It's a paradox. Paradoxes are part of nature. Think about light. Now, if you look at Huygens, light is a wave, as confirmed by the double slit experiments. But then along comes Albert Einstein and discovers that light behaves like particles, too. Well, I didn't make it worse.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm such a mess. And on top of everything else, I'm all gross from moving. My stupid shower doesn't even work.
Our shower works.
Really? Would it be totally weird if I used it?
Yes.
No.
No?
No.
No.
It's right down the hall.
Thanks. You guys are really sweet.
Well, this is an interesting development.
How so?
It has been some time since we've had a woman take her clothes off in our apartment.
That's not true. Remember at Thanksgiving, my grandmother with Alzheimer's had that episode?
Point taken. It has been some time since we've had a woman take her clothes off, after which we didn't want to rip our eyes out.
Worst part was watching her carve that turkey.
So, what exactly are you trying to accomplish here?
Excuse me?
That woman in there's not going to have sex with you.
Well, I'm not trying to have sex with her.
Oh, good. Then you won't be disappointed.
What makes you think she wouldn't have sex with me? I'm a male and she's a female.
Yes, but not of the same species.
I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals here. I'm just trying to be a good neighbor.
Oh, of course.
That's not to say that if a carnal relationship were to develop that I wouldn't participate. However briefly.
Do you think this possibility will be helped or hindered when she discovers your Luke Skywalker No More Tears shampoo?
It's Darth Vader shampoo. Luke Skywalker's the conditioner.
Amy? Amy? Amy?
Yeah?
Not exactly the welcome wagon, but I'll take it.
What is this?
I'm mapping basic topics of conversation and with whom they can be discussed. Now, I call these circles zones of privacy. Don't Google that unless you want to see pictures of people's genitals. This circle contains only me and you. It represents subjects we only share with each other. Details of physical intimacy, bathroom habits, although as I'm saying it, I may need to add Dr. Fink in here.
Are you really worried about revealing secrets to Stephen Hawking?
Oh, no, I was just excited to list him as a friend.
Well, I do appreciate you working on this.
I'm sorry you were embarrassed. And now I understand that some things are just between you and me. And in the event of redness and swelling, Dr. Fink.
What's that little dot in the middle?
That's reserved for thoughts I don't share with anyone.
Interesting. You really have secrets you don't tell me?
Of course.
Can I hear one?
No, they're private.
Why? Are they naughty?
A little?
Please?
Fine. 2 years ago, I got my driver's license.
What? Why didn't you say anything?
I like being chauffeured around. It makes me feel important.
So when I got up at 4 a.m. to drive you across the desert to an antique train museum, I didn't have to?
No, you didn't. You keep in mind, I felt extremely important.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching our show today. We just wanted to take some time to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Cat and Raven Design. They are a small queer-owned business that specializes in LGBTQ plus pride soaps. They have great designs, some that even look good to eat, but don't. You can get 10% off your entire order if you use the code DSP or go to our link tree. Help support this great small business and help give back to a great community. Guys, grab your bowls. All right, we're back again.
We're back and we're live. Just as live as I can't think of nothing but balls. I'm sorry. You fucked me up. I don't know what to say.
Let's be honest. They were on your mind before I got to you.
Why can I taste it?
Oh,
It's the hyperphantasia.
it's something.
Yeah,
Why
I
are
was
there hairy?
painting yesterday. There's so much hair everywhere, like on all the trim and all that, because it's all dusty and
Wait.
hairy. And one of
Wait,
the
what?
hairs flew in my mouth while painting.
No.
I can't do wet hair. I can't stand the feeling of wet hair.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Well, this
curly.
was the paint.
Mm.
Oh, they're curly. All right. Let's do the show.
All right. So we have our two guests today, Adam and Becca. Want to get to know you a little bit. So, how'd you meet?
Oh, I'm scared.
No,
Um,
I was
Well,
following him.
anyways, her daddy had a dowry on her. It was 2 goats and a chicken, and I just so happened to have. I'm just kidding.
I don't even know my
No.
dad.
Holy
I
shit.
realize.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Well, that went off the rails real quick. All right.
I mean, I know his name. I
No.
just don't, I don't really know him,
So we actually met at church.
which is weird, right?
It is very weird considering
church?
where we're. Yes,
Because-
at church.
Well, yeah, you had been going there forever,
I was in church since before I was born, and that's literal. That's not a joke.
Yeah.
and I showed up because I heard you can find friends there.
Facts.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
but
true.
but the kind of friends that I found there, they didn't like that I asked questions.
No.
So
So we met there. I was deeply involved with several different ministries in the church, and I'm a musician. I was helping lead, the worship on the platform, blah blah blah. So she came around, and she ended up as like one of the small group leaders for the young people. She still doesn't know how that happened.
well, I basically got told that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah. So
Oh, welcome to religion.
anyway, exactly.
Hmm.
We bump into each other. I knew who she was just because she was hanging around the youth, and so was I. And we randomly ended up. It was
We talked about
meal-
potassium.
yes, it was a mealtime
As one does.
during like a weekend retreat that was being held at the church.
I didn't want to be there.
Of course, she didn't want to be there.
It was awful. It was a lock-in. Who does that? Why do you do that?
I forgot.
Cults do
I
that.
forgot. I forgot how exactly the conversation started, but I knew she was a registered nurse, and I'm a physical therapist.
Yep.
I knew she would know the answer to this question. And I said, is Lasix a potassium sparing diuretic? And she was like, no, of course not.
No.
So we,
Now, you asked me why was potassium a big deal, and I said, well, your potassium needs to be between 3.5 and 5.5, or you're going to have all kinds of heart problems, kidney problems, and everything else. That's why it's a big deal, and it's something you should know about. And
Yahoo.
yeah, then we became Facebook friends, and
right. So we started,
yeah,
I don't know. We just started hanging, we started talking to each other more because we, actually were introduced, and
you got my number because I deleted Facebook.
she
'cause I
deleted
hated
her Facebook because
Oh.
of,
people.
yeah. And then I was like, hey, since you're not on Facebook, can I get your phone number?
Too many faces.
And it
on
was
Facebook.
totally, I'm totally making I'm shooting my shot. And
I can tell.
so we were texting back and forth, and we went on our first date, and the first date lasted 6 hours.
Okay.
And we were just
talking about music,
we were talking about music. We were sitting in her car, trading songs,
listening to rock and roll.
listening to rock and roll, just talking about stuff. And
Yeah.
I was just like, this girl is for real. Like, I don't know. It was just so easy. Like, it was 6 hours. It was supposed to be,
That's a long
just like
time.
a dinner date.
Yeah.
And we were, I don't know. We didn't have anywhere to be else, anywhere else to be that night. So we were just with each other that whole night for,
Well, it was an afternoon and an evening.
right. Was it lunch?
It was lunch.
We met up for lunch. It was dark by the time we parted ways.
Well, that's funny because when you got my number, the girl that was with me, I was driving this girl because she didn't have a car, and I didn't know how to say no back then, and which is probably how I ended up as a small group leader.
Yes. That's how you end up on
Anyway.
this podcast.
Didn't say no.
No.
It keeps happening.
No, this girl, she looked at me after you asked for my number, and she was like, "Was I just here for that?" And I was like, "For what?"
What?
I didn't understand. I understand now what she meant, but it took me a while to figure out. Like she was talking about, "Oh, he asked you for your number," as in like.
Yeah.
But I
That
was
pervert
like,
just asked you
okay.
out.
No,
Talk about potassium.
That's right.
potassium. Also,
Man.
it's aldactone that's the potassium-sparing diuretic.
That's right.
Spironolactone.
Spironolactone. Yeah. Spironolactone is your potassium sparing diuretic for all the nerds out there who want to know. And so that's how we met and we started dating. I started clinical rotations. I was out of town most of the time, but we were constantly texting back and forth. And
I sent you fun facts.
she would send me fun facts.
Love it.
And again, at this point, she doesn't know she's autistic.
And you actually texted back.
I actually texted back. I had no idea this is a neurodivergent person flirting with me. This is how they do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know either.
She didn't know
Pebble.
either, you know?
Yeah, she's just being human. You're being human. Yep.
Totally. So it went from there. And then I think, a year later we were engaged?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because you could say like, oh, she just didn't know how to say no, but I knew what I was doing then. So
Yeah. You were
I don't
sending
follow the category of.
I actually meant the yes. So here we are.
What's your spiciest text that you sent to him? Like,
Oh my god!
I gotta know. Would it be, obviously it's not like a certain pick that everyone sends in college, but I would assume it was like,
She sent me a fact about blood donors.
That usually
that's what
gets
you
the
think your
blood going.
spiciest thing was. I wonder what you would say. What was like the weirdest thing that you sent where you were like, I'm anxious
Me?
about if he's going to respond to it? I'm sorry.
I don't think it was anything special.
Nothing special.
I was at the fair with this girl who was staying at my house because again, I could say no. And
It's the same girl.
No,
Seems
it
to
wasn't.
be a
This is a
trend.
different girl. This is a different girl.
Oh no,
They
there's a
both
different
stayed
girl.
at my
Sorry.
house. They both stayed at my house because there was a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Happens.
And I felt bad. I didn't want them. Like,
Yeah.
It's a whole different
Yeah,
story.
no, shit happens.
But yeah, so she was there with me, and they were on something I would never get on because I'm terrified of heights. And I was in the animal area. They had like the animals, this little petting zoo, but they had this huge bull with the horns.
Longhorn,
Yeah,
Texas Longhorn.
and I just sent him a picture of that without context.
There you go.
So
You sent them
That was
your,
it.
you
I
sent them
told
your
you it wasn't
horns.
anything. That's
Let's
the first
get
thing
married.
that came to mind.
That's right. Oh my God, I'm gonna marry this girl. If you see this picture,
Texas Longhorns, baby.
Well, one could argue now that I could have made the joke that because like horns, so horny.
okay.
I'm so horny for you.
But like
That was not her intention.
at the same
She's looking through
time,
the door right now, just so you know.
What happened?
my
Our
daughter.
daughter's looking through the door.
Oh.
She doesn't know what it
She
means.
said that.
She's fine.
You can come in for a second.
Mama, what'd you say?
Anyway, but yeah.
This is so off the rails.
That's my child.
Hello, human.
Hello.
This is Camilla.
Can't
This-
hear me, but
is this,
hello, Camilla.
Is this y'all kid?
They're
Mhm.
saying hello to you.
There you go. Look at that. You know,
That's hi.
church sometimes leads to good things.
That's right.
There's the cause of it back there.
There you
Yes.
go.
And the funny thing is she's incredibly sassy. And she's quite proud of the fact that she's incredibly sassy. So
There you go.
Thanks.
Super into that.
yeah.
I want to take us a little bit further off the rails, but in the rails. What was the moment? I love asking couples this, Spence. What was the moment where both of you were like, "This is my human. This is going to be my human."
So for me, I immediately knew when she invited, this is one of our early dates. She invited me over to her house for dinner, and she was cooking, and she asked me if I liked Tuscan pork chops with vinaigrette sauce or something.
Mhm.
And I was like,
It's probably a bit detailed for a
yeah, she gave me the exact, name of the dish, and I was like, that sounds fantastic. That'd be great.
That's what it said in the cookbook.
So it was the title of the page on the cookbook. So she texted me that. Do you like this? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's great. But when I came to the door, like, I still remember it like it was yesterday. She was wearing jeans and a tank top, and she had this super trendy looking jacket on.
Oh, I
with
still have that, the green one.
the green jacket with the sleeves rolled up.
I don't get rid of anything.
and the jacket was open and her hair was up in a ponytail, and like she just answered the door, and she was, I mean, the most attractive thing I'd ever seen. I don't know what it was about that particular moment. I hadn't even had dinner yet, and I was just like,
I was probably really stressed out too.
Oh, you for sure were stressed out. What'd you say, Smash?
Oh yeah.
yes, yes, she was.
I was trying to do like all
I
the
got
things
it.
at
I got it.
once.
But like, I just, at that moment, I was like, I think I'm in love with this girl.
I think I'm a loaded white woman.
That's right. You gonna eat your cornbread? I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my
Hey, he brought up life.
Also, who taught you that?
That's fucking
Life.
awesome. Oh, she taught that. Look at y'all supporting
Yes.
black film.
Oh shit. You gonna eat your cornbread?
Yeah,
Oh my
we my
God, I'm so
cornbread,
glad you guys
motherfucker.
get that reference.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it was. We had a backwards moment one time though because I said that to him, like because I'd seen the movie, but he hadn't seen it, and he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, because usually it would be me doing
Is
that.
that what I said? Yeah.
Yeah. Like you got upset for a minute. I was
Whatever,
like,
psycho.
I was
Yes.
like, I'm just quoting a movie.
She
God.
was
Eat my
about to
cornbread,
beat
shit.
your ass.
Yeah.
She was about to prison stomp your ass.
Like, taking your
With the
cornbread.
cornbread too.
You my
Damn.
man now. These are where my babies come from.
Oh,
That's a Family Guy reference where she grabs his
it
balls.
sure is. Lois Griffin.
Yeah.
I showed you that show too.
You
Yeah.
did.
He grew up in like
Listen,
the
y'all.
fundamentalist type religion.
I-
He wasn't
I
allowed to
figured.
watch a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
I say I
so
grew up in church. Honestly, I escaped fundamentalist religion, and it was really.
It was
She was a big help.
very controlling.
So she brought you to the dark side.
She
I
did.
understand. Yeah.
See?
Kind of, yes.
That's why my mama said,
Yes.
never trust a white woman. They just be taking you from God.
Yeah. Right into Harry Potter.
Right
and
in the
everything else.
Harry. Oh my
Oh,
God.
the devil. The devil.
I had never seen Harry Potter. I had never drunk alcohol on purpose.
But y'all watch Lord of the Rings.
I know.
What's the
The
difference?
first time I ever had booze.
That's about
The
God
wizard.
and the devil and
There's
stuff
a
like
wizard
that.
in it. There's a Balrogs.
Of course.
If
It's,
did
you
he
know,
actually
I'm
watch
not sa-
Life? There's no way his people allowed him to watch any black movies.
You ain't watching that with all them Negroes in there. You know you not. No, you not.
I feel like his
We
family.
grew up in a different side of town too. So
Oh, here we
She
go.
grew up-
very
Oh,
different.
she grew up
side
in
of
the
town.
hood.
Well,
They
good.
were having like there were shootings like a mile from my house. Like,
Hey,
so
you know.
we grew up in two very different parts.
She about that
Okay.
action, boss.
I grew up in uppity Whiteville, and she grew up in the wrong part of town.
Hey, once you go hood, it's
Single
all good.
mom.
Oh,
So
my
what
God.
was your
Yeah,
moment?
what was your
My
moment?
moment.
Yeah.
Oh man.
She's like, I ain't had it yet, motherfucker.
Well, no.
When you die, and I get
Turn
the
it
check. When I
Turn
get
it
the
off.
check.
It's like
Turn it off. She ain't had it yet.
I have a hard time with like the absolutes. So like your favorite this, your favorite that. So hang
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No. It's just it's hard for me to pick like one thing.
They keep happening.
It doesn't have to be like one that you can pick like the easiest
think-
of the three to talk about.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was always like him being there, like listening and like knowing that he was listening and like not weirded out by me, like that he actually was willing to and brave enough to understand me. Because even back then, like I may not have known what was going on with me, but I knew that something wasn't like I just didn't fit in. I knew that I wasn't. I knew that I was different, if that makes sense. And I knew I had anxiety, obviously, because I had been diagnosed with anxiety, mostly through kind of one of those, like, I think I went to a psychiatrist throughout middle, high, and college.
Yeah.
And like, there was no like actual testing or anything like that done. It was just like, looked at me, anxiety. And so like, that's kind of how that happened. But so I knew that was going on. But he would take the time to actually listen to my random fun facts and, get involved with my weird interests. And it was interesting though, because like that same environment, that same church, they were not fans of believing in any kind of mental health. So anxiety to them was like, well, you just need to get it prayed off.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a
You're an
spiritual issue.
introvert. That's not a thing. Like, first of all, introversion is not even a bad thing anyway. It's just a difference of, how you are. But to
Opinion.
them, it was like, you're supposed to be outspoken, on fire. And of course, to me, I'm like, on fire. Like I took a lot of things literally. Like they would sing about like, oh, what was
Lift
that?
up your hearts.
What does that even mean? Anyway, so I struggled with a lot of stuff in there. Like I think, and I kept going because part of me was amused, and part of me just wanted. I hate not finishing what I start, and so I was like, no, I'm going to see this through. I want answers. So of course, they don't want my questions in that particular environment. And I know not all churches are like that, but this particular one was just very controlling, very much, hey, just be quiet and believe what I tell you.
Yeah, like I'm exactly what those kinds of environments are looking for, like extroverted, some sort of talent that we can benefit from, high capacity, high drive, natural crusader. Like I'm exactly what they're looking for. And so us getting together is hysterical because she's the
He had
one.
a fan club. He had a whole fan club because he used to do
100%.
He used to do like the music.
I was a worship leader on the platform. There were times, even after we got engaged, there were times where there would be girls waiting to talk to me.
Yeah, I
at
don't
the
do
foot of
fan
the
club.
stage.
So I was like, all right, bye. I don't really care.
Yeah, it was extremely. If you want a massive ego, that's a great place to get one.
And after we got together, not that they talked to me much anyway, but I would walk up to anyone and they would just get really quiet and just stare me down. And I'm like, okay, well,
yeah,
never mind. So
there you go.
But I was kind of used to that because sometimes you say stuff and like people look at you like you're the weirdest creature on the planet. So, and people don't forget that often.
Nope.
So,
bruh, it's the first cry of the pod. Like I was like legit about to like cry my eyes out when she's like, someone just showed up and was just there and was just a decent human, did the bare fucking minimum. Today I've had a decent amount of clients, and last week they were contemplating some really heavy shit. And we all know what that means. If you don't know what that means, you know, end of life. And it was just about just having humans around you that are also neurodivergent that accept you and allow you to maybe info dump or allow you to not feel like shit when you talk about the way your brain works and like just give you time. And so I don't know, that impacted me, what you just said. And you just said it so bluntly and perfectly. And I had 2 clients today that are just like, I wish I had that. And I keep telling them that you're going to find it. You're going to find these other neurodivergent individuals. It just might take a minute.
Right.
So I want to let you know that was super powerful. And it was just the easiest thing is you met someone that actually was just a decent human. Bro, Spencer.
It's hard to find.
It is, bro. When you said it though, I was like, oh.
But I feel like most of my friends that I've even found by kind of accident, like I feel like a lot of them are actually undiagnosed something because it just feels like, you know how you can kind of, you're around them and you're like, I recognize you. Does that make, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, there's something in you that I just feel like we are not the same person, but we are of the same makeup.
It's the force.
There we go. It's the force.
Except for this one just happens to be autism.
Can you feel it? Yes, I can feel it.
I love chicken tenders.
Legos.
Trades.
Poisons.
Poison.
Well, hey, I can't say that as a person of color. I'm not saying poison as a person of color.
You just said it like 3 times.
I'm not saying I like it. You know, I never got, I ain't never touched no pistol, you know, no poison.
Pistol?
No pistol. No, you know, I'm not a violent man, you know. All right.
Well, I would never actually poison anybody. I just find them fascinating.
Well, you know, you never say never. All right.
It's like
Spencer gets it.
If you got a gun in the house, you're more likely to use it. If you know about poisons, you're more likely to use it.
Well, I'm pretty good at recognizing, like as having worked in nursing, like being able to recognize just these signs and symptoms of various things. And I've always been a huge fan of like murder mysteries and like Agatha Christie and stuff. And she's just a boss when it comes to poisons in her work. Like she talks about them all the time. So it's just fascinating to try and solve those kinds of things.
Well,
too. So,
you know, if I ever need you, you know, and I send you an encrypted message, just, you know, just answer it and then delete it.
Got it.
Okay.
WhatsApp is encrypted end to end.
I'll have to probably ask him how to delete it, but got it.
Okay.
How?
All right, Spence. Any questions? I know that one question lasted long as fuck.
No, yeah, that was great. I love that. I guess it's when you found out later in life that you actually were neurodivergent, did that open up anything? Just did it have more questions for you, or did you feel relief, Becca, when you did it? And Adam, did you also feel like you had a sense of relief as well, just being like, oh, that makes sense, or anything like that?
I felt mostly relief, maybe a little bit of both, but I think relief because it was like I was able to breathe out for the first time, if that makes sense. Um, because I know things had always been pretty rough growing up, especially socially and just being exhausted just from being around people. I went to a high school where like we had 2,000 people in this high school. It was a pretty big high school,
Yeah.
3 floors. I was constantly having like meltdown, shutdown moments, panic attacks. And so a lot of stuff just started making sense, just the noise issues and the bright lights, like just me and the sun have a very difficult relationship. But
He's a vampire.
just coming home every day, I would have like people at my school, classmates, so they would stay and do all these different things. And I needed to come home, close my room, put my headphones on, pace back and forth, just to decompress basically. So like, I guess I always wondered, like, why can't I just do the things? Like, what is wrong with me? And so I think after it got worse after having a child, obviously, because that's a lot, it's a lot more going on. And now I'm responsible for another human being, basically. And being pregnant, for one thing, was awful. I hated it so much. It was so, it's so uncomfortable. You feel everything. Your senses are heightened. It's a mess. And I love my child to death. So like, I would totally do it again for her, obviously, but like, don't plan on having any more children, just because I remember all of the, I just couldn't, I had a really hard time with it. And then I know I dealt with more anxiety after she was born. Because
Definitely.
I remember thinking like, I don't know what to do, because he was home for a week after she was born, and then my mom helped me out for a week. And I was terrified when the 2 weeks was over, because I was like, I'm supposed to do this by myself. I don't know what to do. I can barely take care of myself most of the time. I forget to do this and that, and I don't think about, and then everything started getting just crazy for me. And that's when I started going back to therapy, because it'd been a while since I'd actually done therapy and stuff, mostly because, life was in the way, cost, and that's when she started bringing up, I think she kind of noticed over time. And I think for her, she would point out things like, it's always dark in your room when we talk. We were doing it over.
I was like, oh, hold up now.
Yeah.
Why this motherfucker in your bedroom?
No.
A white man.
We would do it over. It wasn't Zoom necessarily. It was a different kind of call, but it's technically the same. Yeah.
I got you. I'm good now. I just said you had to catch me up.
She would be, she would take notice of that. And like, I guess I always said I was tired. And she's like, does you always say you're tired? I'm like, it's because I am always tired, Shannon.
Yeah.
And
Shannon.
And so I guess things just started adding up, and she told me I should look into, she's like, I want you to look into, at first she called it Asperger's, which I know it's not called that anymore because of Nazi shit.
Yeah, you're good.
And then, she started talking to me about like different autism and possibly ADHD, OCD stuff like that.
Yep.
And so obviously she was not, she wasn't able to do the testing thing. So I'm actually with a different therapist who is within a group that does
the testing. Yep.
All of that. But yeah, she was the first person that had ever mentioned that to me, because in my mind, even as a nurse, I'd always just thought of the criteria for autism being what you typically see for young boys and that sort of thing. But once I started looking at like all of the criteria, like the DSM-5 stuff, and just looking through that, I'm like, I don't know, I saw me for the first time. And it was like, this makes so much sense. This is why I've struggled for so long. And it was relief, but it was also like looking back, it's like, if I had known then, like maybe I could have felt, maybe I wouldn't have felt so shitty.
Facts.
Because I was constantly just sitting on the side of my bed in tears. I did some self-harming over the years back then because I didn't know how to deal with the feelings or even understand what they were. I'd always sucked with sort of understanding my own feelings. I did a lot of writing, which helped. Of course, my mom found my journals and I got sent to see a counselor along with my psychiatrist at that time because my mom thought I was, on the verge of doing something worse. And, But my mom did the best she could. She raised me by herself. In fact, I think my mom is actually undiagnosed.
We're about to get into it. Don't worry about it. We're about to get into it.
Yeah. Personally, like a lot of the stuff that I see in me, I actually see much more prevalent in her. So.
Sorry. That was the autism force choking him.
Chicken nuggets. Oh, sorry.
We've been doing this for a long time. Sorry.
Okay.
That was magnificent. Thank you for all that on your honesty.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Obviously, I don't want to make her story about you, Adam, but how long were y'all married before she got diagnosed? Or together?
Almost. Yeah. We were married for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And so she had the therapist suggest, I think you might be on the spectrum. She starts doing her own research, of course, feverishly.
I'm sure that's intense.
And oh man, you guys know how, oh my God. She's the one that puts together all of the research for our podcast. And it is like just professional, grade stuff.
I sit there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, twice a week.
But, she would show me videos of experts. Tony Atwood is one, Dr. Tony Atwood. He has an autistic child. Yeah. He would describe, one trait after another. And I would look at Becca like, yeah, you do all this. Like it's a perfect, the entire constellation of symptoms is just right there. And it was relief for me because, relief for me as well, because now we know she's never actually dealt with classic depression or anxiety or OCD. Those are just symptoms of what is actually going on internally. It's not that she's having classic panic attacks or classic general anxiety disorder. It's that she's melting down.
Yep.
She's overstimulated. Her bucket is overflowing and she needs to get out of whatever situation she's in and get into quiet, dark, some sort of stimming behavior to recharge.
Yep.
And but that all happened in the context of my life turned upside down individually because I escaped fundamentalist Christianity.
This is around the same time. So
it's around the same time.
Yeah.
And so that happened. We're raising a child. We don't know that she is autistic or neurodivergent.
Yep.
So, your relationship with your spouse changes drastically when you have children anyway. There's lots of things that, and you got to like rediscover like, wow, how do I connect with this person that I've been with now? You almost have to reinvent yourself.
100%.
You have to go back to basics. And so that's all going on. I'm finally starting to understand, I'm a big physical touch person. Now I'm starting to understand, she doesn't hate to touch me. She doesn't, you guys are killing me. She does not, I don't repulse her physically. It's not that.
Put that thing away, Jeffrey.
It's not all that.
Why is it so big?
Adam.
I'm trying to be so for real right now.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were a woman.
Hey, buddy, how you doing, man?
Why does it smell like Fritos?
Hey, praise he. Am I right?
All right,
Am I
praise
right,
he.
sir?
Oh my God. Get back
that
on
was good.
track.
Just so you don't get scared.
Sorry.
Sure.
He's behind you.
It wasn't that. It's that she has a bucket. You know, she's got a certain amount of spoons. Is
Yep.
some of the language you'll
Spoons.
hear.
Yep.
And it's like you know, the reason this never felt like this before was because you had not had your daughter yet, and you did not know that she has spoons.
Yeah.
So you guys were behaving just like any early married couple does, and blah blah blah. And then you have a child, and the meltdown. She can no longer mask at that point.
Yep.
Because she doesn't have the bandwidth to do so. In her case, there's plenty. You know, capacities are different from one neurodivergent person to the next.
Yep.
But for her, the masking was over,
Mm.
and so it was a huge. There was a lot going on at the same time. I've been to therapy myself. I recommend therapy to any human being, honestly. But
Yeah.
for me, there was a ton of stuff I was untangling personally, but then also with our relationship now, knowing, okay, her brain is physically different from mine.
Yep.
Well, she's also very much a physical touch person. So she
She's a
just
big toucher too. She's
sit on me.
always hugging, kissing, you know, sitting on Rebecca. And every time that happens, you know, I take a mental note. Oh, Becca has spent this amount of her capital today. Right. And so, you know, I kind of gauge however she tells me she's feeling. Now it has layers of meaning to it. It's not, oh, I'm kind of tired. It's not just tired. When she says tired, she's not meaning physical fatigue. She's talking about, I can hear the air conditioner and the refrigerator and your voice at the exact same volume.
Yep.
At all times.
You know, I might have
Help
heard
me
Jesus in it too, you know.
Are you Daredevil? What? It's just,
So
I can see it all.
Yeah, that was how I felt when
There you go.
when that therapist suggested it all.
Yeah, and her being a child, you know, like I feel I can't exactly. I know how important it is for her to have what she needs,
Right.
and so all of that affection tends to go in that direction, as
Mhm.
opposed to.
Yes.
So,
And she's trying to map out her own sense of self-care while being in the highest demand position you possibly can be in, which is with a child, a small child and she'll feel guilty because she's taking care of herself.
yeah, we're dealing with that in my
You know,
with my therapist right
all
now,
that.
actually. So,
Yeah.
guilt, and yeah, like when I was in my 20s before we ever met, I would have a friend that would want me to come out all the time with her, and I basically just drank through all of that. That was my way of like masking.
Yep.
Then was just drinking until I just wasn't cognizant because I couldn't handle being.
Hit that bottle.
I just couldn't. I couldn't handle being out like that.
Yeah.
Around so many big groups of people.
Yep.
But I didn't want to like. If I figured if I said no, then like I would lose like the only friend that I had too.
Yep.
So I was like trying to balance all that way.
What'd she just bring in? She bring in a robot?
No, it's a puzzle piece pillow.
Oh, okay. I thought she brought in one of them flying plane thingies.
Oh no.
What are those called?
The
The flying Roombas. What are those robot things called that fly?
yeah.
They deliver shit.
A
A
drone?
drone. The flying
Drone.
Roombas.
Flying
There are children her age around here
Flying
that have the
Roombas.
drones though, and there's
my
always
God.
there's always one family that puts on the Facebook thing that like, oh, have you seen this drone that my 5-year-old just lost? Like she just got for Christmas, and I'm like, why did you give a 5-year-old a drone?
That's a
I don't
good
know.
question.
Hey, bro. I need
Or a flying Roomba, as they called it.
I'm about to Google what flying Roomba comes up.
That's a Michigan term. Flying Roomba.
No.
You see that flying Roomba?
That's when you're mentally disabled. That's my term.
Oh.
So Jesus, flying Roombas. Spence, I'm gonna kick it back to you for another question, and then we'll get into the scenes.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. Was there a point in your relationship where maybe Becca was masking in front of you, Adam, and then all of a sudden that kind of goes away after a while? Do you know when do you know when that point was? Was it kind of earlier in your relationship? Was it kind of like in the middle? Now?
Subtly
It
over
was,
time or throughout the date? Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I remember I call her every day on the way home from work.
Oh, he's such a
to
good man.
plan to plan what we're going to do for dinner, just to make sure I need to pick something up, what's going on this evening. And several, like, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks solid, she would pick up the phone and she goes, I'm just tired. And like the tone of her voice, it was like she's like distressed. Like it's not physical fatigue. And again, I don't know at that point what we know now.
Right.
And I really I just hit a wall with that. I was like, Becca, you're not okay. Like you sound awful.
Yeah.
Like you're not telling me you're tired. You're telling me you've had it.
I think I was burned out at that point.
She
to be
was.
honest.
And Camilla was like what, 2 or 3 years old. And again, another thing in play is that I've been around children, small children, babies, newborns, since I was 17 years old. I have 2 older sisters who have 13 children between the 2 of them.
God damn.
I've been around babies. Yeah. They both have a set of twins.
Not me.
I've been around babies. I babysat overnight.
Yeah.
I've done overnight babysitting with small children. And, I'm just like, yeah, you change the diapers, you feed them the food, if they throw up, you clean it up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I was already, I don't know. You're not super self-aware as you are later in life.
Yeah.
I brought that script of life into our marriage. So I'm like, yeah, you have a baby and then you do the baby things. Yeah, you're good, right?
No, it was nothing like that. Like for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Like,
and she's been an amazing mom, but we never understood the cognitive cost of carrying out that. Yeah.
There have been times that I've had to go outside and literally scream. Pretty sure I terrified my neighbors.
That's fine.
A couple of times. And then, because I remember growing up, like my mom, she raised me by herself. And like, I can definitely appreciate that now, because it's like, I have help and I'm struggling. I can't imagine we barely had like anything. Like my mom was just privileged enough to have my grandfather who owned a business and was able to work for him.
Yeah.
So, but she would be so done when she would come home that she would just slam cabinets, just slam them, because that's literally the only way she could get it out for her.
And her mother was never.
And I didn't want to do that, so I would go outside.
Sure. Trying to find a way to
not do it around. Yeah.
And her mother was never supposed to physically be able to have children. She was 4 months pregnant before they found out that she was pregnant.
Wow.
So she's 5 months from being a mom, and she has never oriented herself toward motherhood until that moment. And so when you get thrown in the fire like that, I mean, it's a lot to deal with. And you don't, you got to come through for your kid. You're not spending time in the mid 80s, talking to a therapist. Like nobody cares about mental health at that point.
Yeah, we're in the South too. There's not much talk about mental health where we live.
No.
If you talk about mental health, is still rather taboo in places around here.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
That was some good stuff. Spencer's one more question though we gotta ask. How the hell did y'all get into all this social media stuff? Like, is this a new thing? Like, right? Because here we go. Yeah. I'll transition. I know who the hell you were. I might have seen you before. I'm like, another white person. Jesus Christ. Another white woman talking about autism on Instagram. Jesus
no,
Christ.
I get it.
It's like, oh no, she cute.
White,
but she autistic.
White.
Oh, there's a black one. Oh, she ain't even autistic though.
What's that sound? A white woman's Instagram.
Is it that
Bo
like
Burnham.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham.
Latte foam art.
Oh, Bo Burnham. What a kid.
Yeah.
And so
I know what you're talking about.
Mini pumpkins.
Pumpkin spice. You good. You go. You go. I'm trying not to go side quest right now.
Exciting it.
And explain the shrimp boat captain shit. So a client I work with, as everyone knows, right, this podcast is a neurodivergent, neuroaffirming. Me and Spencer are autistic ourselves. I'm a therapist. And so I get a lot of clients, specialties autism, and a lot of my clients are women. This podcast, large majority of the listeners, we're talking about like 80% are women. Good.
Wow.
80% probably going to identify as being autistic, neurodivergent. But there's also going to be a high clip of people of color that listen to us too. So it's magnificent. And so one of my clients follows us on the podcast page, one of my clients, which is fine, right? It doesn't break any rules or nothing. And they sent in your guys' reel. And I'm like, who is this precious white woman right here with the little squishmallow? Who is this? Who is this young child right here? Yeah, no. There's a good white woman. And then I see this neurotypical dude, or I just see this dude just lost in the sauce, what it is. Because you play that role very well. Like, and it's not scripted, but like some of it is like kind of scripted. I loved it because I'm always very skeptical and shit. I love both of you in the role playing between the two of you. And it's her facial expressions. When you say shit, her facial expressions are fucking magical. Subtle.
Dude.
So to the non-autistic person, they're going to be like, why she don't move her face? And I'm like, girl,
right.
Stop moving your face so much.
That's right.
So
I used to practice that though. Like that was, I think reading actually helped with that when I was younger, reading fiction. Because it would say like, oh, he scowled. And I'm like, scowled. You know, like that's just something I would do. And so like, I guess maybe that, I don't know if that just sort of came about later in life too. Like that's how I know like, oh, I'm supposed to do this in this interaction.
Descripting. So you're really good at descripting,
right.
But even on the reels, it feels pretty organic to me. And so that's what I was like, I'm gonna give y'all a shot because it's not bullshit. Like everyone just doing psychoeducation. I'm not trying to hate on psychoeducation, whatever. I'm getting off of that. I loved y'all and the dynamic. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna shoot them a DM. And then you responded because I was like, because half the time it always goes into the hidden messages. So they never even see our message because it's in the hidden Instagram messages. Yeah. And then he's like, sure, let's do it. And I was like, fuck yeah. My client sends me a follow-up message like a week after. So like after their therapy session, they told me about you in therapy. Like 2 weeks later, they sent it to me again. I'm like, they're coming on the pod. Matter of fact, it's this week. And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, girl, I got podcasts too, girl, you know.
We got Paul on this podcast.
I got
That's
Paul.
right.
I know Barack, you know.
It ain't Obama.
Wow.
That's all I know. It's
Obama.
another motherfucker named Barack. I don't know.
Yeah, it's another black dude.
Barack Smith. You're like, what?
Hey,
Who the fuck? What?
I got a signed letter from Governor Walz, possibly, you know, vice president. So, you know, fuck y'all. They're saying, you know, letter of recommend accommodation, whatever they call it.
Stamp that, just so you know.
It's,
out of here.
Hey, it's my people.
It's bullshit. He's bullshitting with you.
I got a stamp. I'm good with Tim
You
Walz.
did not.
Tampon
Yeah,
Tim.
you got a stamp it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
T-dubs.
T-dubs. All right. So how did y'all get started on this Instagram shit? Like, what was the journey? Was it a podcast first? Were you just like, you know what? I'm going to make fun of my wife on social media. This ain't funny.
No.
You were on social media already.
Yes.
Okay.
I was on TikTok to begin with a couple of years ago because it was the place where independent musicians could promote themselves.
Yep.
And people were even building careers.
Yes, the only fans of music.
That's right. It's very true. So through TikTok, I actually met, I made friends with Grammy-winning audio engineers.
Yep.
I met an artist who just signed with Timbaland last year or year before that. And I ended up traveling to different places to see these guys' studios and see their, their workflow, their gear, and all that stuff. So it was it's incredibly rich experience. Like I had a guy who, he knocked down like 40 million streams on, as an artist. He randomly came through a TikTok live that I would always do from my studio. And we immediately clicked because we liked the same kind of music.
There you go.
And we ended up collaborating and songwriting together, co-writing some songs remotely that we've actually released. So it was, that's how I got to it first. I was still promoting my own music as an independent artist when Becca said something hysterical. We were sitting on the bed at night and she's like, what about the narrator? And we're talking about falling asleep and stuff.
Well, you always think I say something funny when I'm actually being serious too.
I know.
She's been 100% serious. and I will just absolutely lose it because again, we have two different, we know now we have two different brains. And so the way that we experience the world is just different. It's just different. And many times the differences are absurd. They're very absurd. So I'm just describing now she's always marveled at my ability to fall asleep. When I get into the bed and I close my eyes and I get still and quiet, I'm gone.
It's like 2 seconds from death.
I'm donezo. She's
Weird.
the pole opposite. Yes, baby. No, baby. Okay. And so she said something hysterical about that. So I just randomly pulled up my phone, and my thought was, most of the successful independent artists on social media, people buy into them as people.
Yep.
And then they buy into their music.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that, I'm going to show my music, yes, but I'm also going to show my life, So that's why I snapped that video. And what I did not know is how good she is actually on camera.
Good.
For an introverted, neurodivergent person,
But she's masking.
She's a natural.
Well, she's masking, so she's a perfect actress.
So we snapped that video, and it's at nearly 33 million views now.
Holy
that was
fuck.
back in March. And I
don't get it.
I
mean, I'm
could
grateful,
not,
but I don't get it.
totally.
Yeah.
I could not, you can't predict this stuff. It's like winning the lottery.
Yep.
And so just like 2 weeks before, maybe, we actually started the Poisons podcast. She suggested it to me because I had the audio set up here in the studio.
I'd always wanted to do like something with that, and I didn't have anybody else to like do it with, and so I was like, come on, do it with me. Do Poisons with me.
And so I was like, oh, that sounds like a great idea.
So it's fun.
Because it's something we could do together, and it also accommodates one of her
Special interests. Let's go.
So she basically, and it's so natural because, I'm the natural, conversationalist. She's the natural researcher. So we just play off of each other in the episodes. So that video explodes, and overnight we get into the TikTok Creator Rewards Program, which is for people who are, monetize their content. YouTube happened a little while later. And then Instagram caught up with everything else recently. That's only been in like the last month.
I like that it's
or two.
his channel too, because I don't get all the notifications.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get all the.
I'm the one with the bandwidth to, tease through, answer the DMs and the emails and, direct messages of people who are like, my life is on fire. What should I do? And I'm like, you need a therapist. I'm going to default to a licensed professional in your state so I don't get sued. So that's how it happened. It was a complete accident that video was the one that exploded. But, overnight, it turned us into content creators. And only the video happened. And then after the fact, I had to, reverse engineer. Why is this happening? Why are so many people watching this content? And the number one thing is, I joke with Becca all the time that she's the talent and I'm her toxic stage dad. So, they love her. Yeah. They love her authenticity. They love her sense of humor, her facial expressions, like you said.
The toy.
The way that we play off of each other, we're honestly just shocked at how the other person experiences the world and each other.
And it's honestly always been that way because I just don't understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand. I ask a lot of questions, and he's very patient with questions, which I like too, because it's like even we'll discuss even things that happened a long time ago, and I'm like, why this? Why do people think like that? But why do you do this? Why don't you do it this way?
She asks so many questions like that all the time. I'm like, she'll start. I cannot tell you how many times she has started a sentence with, "Do you know what I don't understand?" And I'm like, "Oh, so much, babe.
Yeah.
Go ahead."
Yeah. And
go for it. I immediately start laughing because I know. This is about to be a video.
Yeah.
Well, I was really nervous though because we hadn't really told a lot of people about.
That's a good point.
What was going on with me, and so I was worried about them finding out, like on this video.
Yeah.
And then being like, "What are you talking about?" Like, because I didn't want the whole like, "Oh, well, you look normal," kind of thing. Even though I've been told my whole life, like you're so weird. Why do you do that? And that kind of thing. And but it's just but it's turned out pretty good, and it feels nice to know that there's people who other people who have the same
Yes.
thoughts and think the same way, and just seeing that has really been encouraging, because before it was I just need to stay in my room away from people because they don't get me, I don't get them, and it's just it's not working.
What I didn't see coming was actually the both of us feeling like we're not alone. Because this experience, being neurodivergent, having a different brain, it gets you marginalized in society to a degree.
Yeah.
Those people, and at this point, I work in healthcare, I understand how the business of healthcare works. If a private equity or research institutions, if they are private insurance, if they can't make a boatload of money off something, they're not going to address it.
Nope.
And so neurodivergence, autism, ADHD, OCD, what have you, there's this awkward overlap between how much we know about it, what we're able to do about it, and how equipped clinicians actually are to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so because of that, because there's a gap in the continuum of care, online spaces are where these people are finding each other. And they're like, oh my God, I hate the sun too. Oh my God, I can't stand it when my routine is interrupted. Oh my God, I cry in the bathroom at work every day too.
Yeah.
And so there's this, giant people, again, as a medical professional, self-diagnosis in some ways can be very dangerous and harmful. But on this part of it, it's like, well, where else do these? Yeah, where else do people have to turn at this moment in time? Except that, so many, even therapists and psychologists or primary doctors, they look at you when you say, I think I might be autistic, and they'll go, no, you're not.
No.
Or something. They don't find an open door when they're dealing with these issues. And so that's another reason that our content is taken off, because they hear us talking about all the things.
Yep.
Well, I think too, the whole, you just need, everybody says well, why do you need to label everything? Why do you need to label everything? But I will say knowing has helped me, because now I can see when I'm on the edge of burnout, or when I know I'm feeling this way because there's so much going on around me. Because it wasn't something I was as aware of then. I just knew I would have this thought in my head, I need to get out, I need to get out, I need to get out.
Correct.
And I would never understand why, but now it's okay, there's all these people around you, there's all this noise, we know why this happens now. This is what I need to go do, or this is what I need to go sit somewhere quiet by myself, decompress, and then recoup. So it's not so much I need to label myself. It's nothing. No. It's about having answers and understanding how I can better live my life where I'm not miserable and misunderstood all the time. So,
yeah. Understanding, education leads to better assessment, diagnosis, which leads to better care, better treatment.
Totally.
It leads to overall continuity of care, so you can have a better overall quality of life. And so, do we need labels for everything? No, but they sure as hell help for certain things. Because without it, we're just I don't fucking know. Let's throw, have you tried eating Legos? I heard that works for some autistics,
Right.
Maybe you eat too much red dye.
But
but with family too, we've had issues with them understanding. We even have some that for a time weren't talking to us for some reason. And I don't think their kids are allowed over here either anymore, but for different reasons. It's a whole thing. It's weird, but
it'll probably blow over, but there's been some pushback. At the
same time, it's
it's fine. I mean, they're probably racist anyways. It's fine.
I mean, you might be right. But I feel I haven't spent that much time with them, to be honest. But I mean, vibes, right?
They're tiki Georgian.
But at the same time, I like knowing the authenticity is there. Okay, now we're not kidding ourselves here. I know how you think, and I know I'm not safe with you, so you don't have to come over here. That's fine.
That's fine.
And that it doesn't. And for some reason, like I feel like people get hurt by that too. It's like, well, you're not, you're not trying to have a relationship. I'm like, you're literally pushing me away though. So,
Yeah.
you want me to be something that I just can't be or refuse to be anymore because I'm exhausted from being it. And, yeah, I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm tired and I don't care what other people think as much as I used to, which is honestly a blessing because, it's just, and I think that comes with age for a lot of people, but yeah, like I know there's this whole like rejection sensitivity kind of stuff that happens with some, and like I do deal with some of that mostly in the academic like type stuff like writing and things like that, but people's opinions of me socially, I just don't really care.
You're good. Hey,
So
while you're talking, I love you. I love your daughter. But whenever we laugh and you're being serious, she's fucking cracking us up.
That's fine.
She just brought a skeleton.
I know when she was wiping off the skeleton, she knows we're paying attention to her. She knows she can't hear us, but she knows.
she does, yeah. She loves
She
it.
can see you,
She
yeah.
loves it, yeah.
You're making them laugh.
Yeah.
She's definitely she's
Oh,
she's a
she's
star.
doing it more now.
Yeah.
She's like, "Wow, Mom, Dad, this is the first time you've ever had coloreds in the house before."
Oh my God.
First of all, not true.
First
Okay,
and
just making
last,
sure.
baby. First and last.
First
Oh,
and
that was
last. Trump about to get y'all out of here. Oh my God.
But if there's actually a funny story if you want to hear it with her. She because she doesn't anyway. There's a neighborhood across the way from us, and all the houses are white. They're just all white. And it's this very rich, I'm talking like the houses over there are at least $500,000 and up. Like it's kind of crazy. It's like $700 a year to live there, their HOA and stuff. And she goes, "Hey, let's go visit that white neighborhood." And I kept thinking, what are you talking about? Where did you hear that? And then I was like,
What do you mean?
you mean the white houses? And she's like, yeah, the
She's
white
like, "No.
neighborhood. And I'm like, oh
You know what I mean, Mama. You know what I mean."
I can
Oh
tell
my
they ain't
God.
seasoning no chicken over there.
we had a talk on why we don't call it the white neighborhood. We just call it that neighborhood or the name of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
Tell her,
I'm like,
I'll let her say this. We call them the Republicans.
yeah,
I'm joking.
yeah.
I'm so
No,
joking.
I mean,
I'm so
Are you?
joking.
honestly
You're
though,
You're statistically
Honestly,
accurate, though.
You know,
he drew him. That's what that is.
a white
That's supposed to
man.
be me.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be me.
Oh
Look.
my God.
Hey,
Hey, it's not better than me. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, the
Better than
head's
me.
about the right size and shape.
It is.
Yeah.
Got the hair.
The circumference
Circumference.
looks like it looks like one of them cantaloupes.
Oh.
All right, let's do a pivot into the show because
Yeah.
what you just talked about actually really related into one of the scenes with Leonard, where he's trying to act like cool and like masking, like, "Oh, I love cheesecake," and then it's like literally causing him fucking to crap his pants. "Oh, I can act like this." No, you can't. Like, you can't do these things in mask.
Mm-mm.
But he's trying to because he wants to date. And so a lot of us autistics will do this to have friends. We'll do this to fit in. We'll do this because we think that we're supposed to have children's or we're supposed to be like in a same sex or heterosexual couple, right? We do these things because these are social norms. And some of my kids are like, "I fucking actually hate everyone. I'm ace and I don't want to talk to anyone." I'm like, "Well, fuck it. We don't need to talk to anyone."
Mhm.
You know what? No, my parents say I need to go to church, but it smells like fucking those weird ass candles
And dust.
and dust and perverts.
Old
It smells like
people.
perverts. Like, I don't,
Oh.
And bad coffee. They have terrible coffee.
you know, it smells like feet and sin in here.
Mhm.
Isn't that the opposite it was supposed to be? But it's fine.
Right.
It's all right.
Well,
Straight
you
out of the
know,
book
and
of Revelation.
straight out of the book of Revelation.
Oh, that old
Eating
book.
sin.
All right. So Spencer, lead us into the actual like show, and then let's have some fun with that.
The show. Okay. All right. Well, it's about Big Bang Theory. About a group of friends, nerds, come together. They have great adventures. For this scene, we have Sheldon, who is the king of autistics. That's the only way you could say it, really.
He's
our
leader.
And
Zorg.
and so he's having a conversation with Penny about his special seat. He can't sit anywhere else. Doesn't want to sit anywhere else. And then of course we have Leonard in there who's just like, go sit somewhere else. It's fine. It's fine. Try sitting down somewhere else. He's not taking it. He doesn't like it. Doesn't like it at all. I kind of want to know what about this scene really spoke to you? And yeah, let's go from there.
Well, I don't like anybody taking my spot, so.
Fuck you, Karen.
Well,
my name's not Karen.
I feel like mine's not. I do have sort of a spot on my couch. It's not as strict as say his, and I think there's like one episode where they have to take his spot to get dry cleaned because something happens to it. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm as strict when it comes to that, although we have had the couch that we have since before we were married. Anyw's
got a lot of butt juice on it.
Well, it's been cleaned, so
sure.
But
sure.
it's I have sort of, I don't like sitting next to windows, and I hate when people kind of make me sit next to windows, and so
is it?
I like to have my own.
Is it because you're worried about people perceiving you, or is it the noise? Is it the light? What is it? All the above.
Probably all the above. There's a good amount of light that comes in that window though too, and it gets like warmer right there,
yep.
And it just feels like the world is right there, and I might get sucked out into. I don't know. I just don't like being that close to it. Yeah, I don't like it. Just not a fan. So, I usually try to sit like in the middle of the couch, but not the other side, because the other side like kind of branches out. Like it just goes out.
Yes.
And like you can't sit there without putting your like
just
you can't sit there.
Just affirm, white man. Just affirm.
You can't sit there unless you put your feet up, like on the other part of the couch.
That's what it is.
And like I don't want to put my feet up on the other part of the couch. I want to put my feet up on the thing in front of the couch where you're supposed to put your feet up, because you're not supposed to put your feet on the couch.
Yeah, because that'll cause a parallax distortion.
Yeah.
It's just not right.
You'll leak potassium everywhere. You'll leak the potassium.
You leak your potassium.
I don't like sitting in the chair, the brown chair, the rocking chair, even though that was the chair that
the brown chair
was in my daughter's room.
What do you mean, you people?
Not that.
What'd you call us?
Man. Why is it the tan chair?
It's a lazy boy. It's brown. It's
lazy boy.
Now you're sexist. Oh, okay. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here.
Racist,
do better,
sexist.
Becca. Do better.
Yeah, he's neurodivergent.
Anyway,
he's not lazy.
The brown couch. He hogs the brown couch. You use the brown couch.
Shut
up. So many jokes. So many jokes.
I use the brown couch too.
My face hurts from smiling so much.
I don't use the brown couch.
Heard that.
I respect the brown couch, and I don't use it.
Oh, there he goes. Oh my God.
I am in love with these people. Jesus Christ. Can I just bottle you up, put you in my pocket?
He's giggling so much.
What the hell were we talking about? Oh, so we were talking about the spot.
About the show.
So, yeah. So you've got, was there something else that you two identified as like you really enjoyed in that clip?
The feelings section. There's a whole even knows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The
anytime that Becca could not identify anymore with Sheldon being completely out of pocket with a strong display of emotion. Doesn't matter which direction it's in, whether it's excitement or anger or crying, especially with crying. It's like
crying's rough.
And Sheldon even displays that elsewhere in the show, where he's like, he gives them a warm beverage because he literally has a written scripted protocol where he's like, well, you're upset. You need a warm beverage, obviously.
And most people want hugs when they're upset, and I don't like hugs. But I have I had a moment. I knew it was coming. It was someone I'm close to. I knew she was going to be upset. I already knew she was going to be upset because I knew this thing was happening that was going to make her upset. Like I foresaw it already. She was going to be in tears, and I was going to need to know what to do. So ahead of time, I said, okay, she's going to want a hug. So one hug, you're okay. Just one, not the side hug. We're going to give her a hug. And then, because we're a good friend, right? We're a good friend. And so I did it. I was able to do it that way. But if it's sprung up on me, it is
It's not happening.
nightmare material.
Forget it.
Nightmare material. And I've had it happen multiple times, and they just look at you like you're supposed to know what to do. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do in this situation.
They're there.
It's fine.
They're there.
It's always awkward.
It's
so
a good
it's just-
skin to skin where you mix, the dusty particles in your touch.
You made hugging
And-
sound
Yeah.
like the
and when you-
worst thing.
Well,
in the
hugging is an
world.
embrace of two meat bags.
Well, in a way, we lose so many skin cells. You could say that we molt like spiders do
Yeah.
every day.
We lose 40,000 skin cells per minute.
Day.
Day.
Mhm.
So I'm
It's like a minute. Damn.
go. Let me shed on you.
What?
Shed my skin cells. I'll shed all over you. Girl.
I mean, that's
thought
where
you said
most of the dust
shit.
comes
no,
from.
shed.
Same.
Shed.
That's what I heard.
You heard it
That's
here.
what I heard.
You heard it here, people.
Me and Spencer heard it right.
Yeah, you heard it right.
Pervert.
It's not.
I mean, you have bacteria in both, so
Well, I'd rather have skin than shit. Let me tell you.
Same.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
wasn't brown before, but she is now, folks.
Oh,
Heyo.
All right, we're done with that.
okay.
So I'm not the biggest fan of hugs, not because it could, like, grosses me out or weirds me out. It's not a thing that I do. And so me and Spencer have this long joke of me hugging him or me just hugging anyone. The other day, a friend tried to hug me after I helped him move into his apartment. I just went like this, and he still hugged me, and I'm like, "You son of a bitch."
yeah.
I hugged his wife though, because she's like the sweetest thing. And I was like, she's the type of
Okay.
person that needs a hug. And like, well, I'm like, Drew, I'm like, you don't need a hug, bro. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I get all
A man
tense.
could need a hug. What you talking
that
about?
big ass man didn't need no hug.
He likes
sound
hugs.
like he did.
He likes hugs. But
I'm the hugger.
I get all
for sure.
tense. I get really tense.
Yep.
There was that time we went to that church thing, and it was unfair because they put the greeters outside where you couldn't escape them. Like, all these churches have these thing called greeters,
Yeah.
and they want to touch you.
Ugh.
They want to touch
They
you.
want to,
I love
like,
the way you
come
said that.
here, and it's really uncomfortable. And apparently, but him and the friend I met on accident, like, he was with us too, and like they looked back at me because they knew like we were gonna have to pass through this group of people, and they knew how uncomfortable I was
Me and
gonna
our
be.
friend were walking in front of her. We see the greeters. We clock that. We look
It's
directly at
just-
Becca and we're like, uh-oh.
And I must have, I guess, looked as uncomfortable as I felt, because like the greeter, like at least one of the greeters was like, "Don't worry, we won't touch you." And I
I'm
was
gonna
like,
say you gave him a look. It's just like,
Right.
don't
I
do it.
was just
did.
tense.
Is that what they
And-
say in the Catholic churches now?
Uh,
I mean,
They don't make
That's
promises.
a Protestant church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
It's-
when you walk into church, don't worry, we won't judge. That was a horrible joke. I'm actually really sorry about that for anyone that's been assaulted by anyone. I'm
shut
sorry.
the
God.
fuck
I know.
up. Get
I
your
fucked it up.
point.
I know.
Jesus.
I fucked it
And
up.
all the Catholic
Christ.
people are like, that's actually pretty funny.
My dad.
I
My
was
dad's
gonna
like,
come up with
"No!"
lying's a sin. So
Cutting that out.
Yeah, I know.
it's true news.
So those are some really good pieces, right? About the feelings and maybe not understanding them or what's going on, not wanting to reciprocate, all these different like things that we have to deal with. You talked about earlier, he doesn't know what's going on in the room, Sheldon. And you said something about him like mouthing like,
Yeah, he literally mouths to Leonard, "What is happening?" Because he honestly does not understand. He didn't see, and again, it's jarring. It gives you whiplash for Penny to have this outburst anyway, because she's freshly in the middle of processing a breakup,
yep.
and she's just met these two guys. So it is a socially awkward thing to
It
do,
is.
but it's even worse for somebody like Sheldon to experience, because he'd have trouble with it if it was socially in pocket,
Yep.
if it was in place. So when it happens at that spot, he's like, "I have no idea. You have got to help me."
Yeah.
I was,
And that's why he asked. That's why he literally mouths him, "What is happening?"
I was
So
too
it
late
was
to draw.
it was great.
That makes complete
I
sense.
cannot not laugh at that.
Has that ever happened with like you two? With not a long explanation because I want to keep it moving, but like, does that happen with like either one of you? Because Adam, it could happen to you too, but like Becca, does it ever happen to you when you're like, Adam, what the fuck is going on right now?
Oh
Are
yeah.
we at a rally?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would, if I thought that, I would get the hell out of there very quickly.
Oh, whatever.
But
Those are good people too.
I don't
Both
know.
sides.
Keep it moving.
But what'd she say?
You said a bad word.
Oh, oops.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. She said a bad word before, so
There's the
Lord.
red hat.
No,
Oh, man.
that's some of
But-
our merch. It says "Be a Man, Cry." It's actually really good.
Oh my gosh.
Be a man, talk, motherfucker.
Oh, whatever.
No.
It's one of those manly things that we do.
No, look, I have people in my family I am related to, like super conspiracy theory. Like I consider myself pretty darn normal for my family.
It's
Okay.
true. Can
I am-
confirm.
Hey.
I'm on the opposite side of
Yeah.
all of that. But yeah, it's we've definitely had moments, especially like me with the in-laws. Like I would get in trouble for things. Like when you guys would just sit at a table and talk for like 2 hours after dinner.
Yeah.
And that to me is torture.
That's hardcore.
So I would go get my book and I would go away and I would sit. And that offended people.
Yep. They all disliked you. They thought you hated them or you were something wrong with you. They probably thought you were a bitch.
Yeah.
So and so.
Yeah.
And by people,
yeah.
she means me. I was at the top
Well,
of the
your
list.
your mom was mad too, I think.
Oh
Your mom
yeah,
was
but I was first in line.
upset.
Like I didn't understand it. You know.
Also, like, there's just
That
been,
looks really great.
especially when we were still in church, like there were moments where like I had to like remember that like you can't just blurt out like that didn't happen, or like that's not true, or that kind of thing. And so like I would just look at him and be like, is he being sarcastic? Is this really happening right now?
Yeah.
And there's just and then there was a whole thing about being transparent, which in that particular, I learned later in that particular environment was code for let us manipulate you.
Mhm.
Tell us all your stories.
Give us access to your lives so that we can use that
Yeah.
information to control you.
But I've always been one to be like, I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah, she came built in
like
with
I'm
that.
not, no.
No.
Like,
yeah.
why would I want to do that? That's
Yeah.
like I'm very I hold on to a lot of, there are certain things that are special to me that I don't share with people just because that's a part of me, and I feel like if I give that out too, then that's just one more thing
Yeah.
that's taken from me.
And I grew up in an environment, again, fundamentalist Christianity, where my conscience and my boundaries were systematically
All the
dismantled
time.
over the course of from the birth until adulthood. And so
I'm sorry
when
about
she
that.
is like, I don't think that's a good idea. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm
It's-
sorry.
Nobody in the South will say that to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not.
But
We what they call it? What happened when we won when the Confederates? I don't know. We beat the shit out of some of them white folks now. So
The Confederates.
well, we in the North now. We in the North.
Yeah.
Talking about the Union?
We was in the Union. I don't know. We was the good whites.
You were such an idiot.
Did you know there's a whole bunch of people in South America, like they were so mad about that, some of the Confederate people.
Of course
that
they
made their
lost.
own- Yeah,
They lost.
they made their own little society in like South America, but then some moved back because they didn't want to do any of the work.
Well, once you get rid of the people who actually doing the work, it's kind
I
of
know.
tough, ain't it?
Sure.
So
But we clashed because she came built in with a sense of self. In spite of all the
Mhm.
challenges she grew up with as a neurodivergent person, she had a more fully formed sense of self than I ever thought about having.
yeah.
It was very strange.
Well, but there have been times though, like even with like people who have had breakups, like I think some of your like nieces who are still young, and for me, I'm just like, okay, it's just a breakup. Like there's plenty of guys like that she's probably going to go hang out with. I mean, whatever. And like, I guess
Damn.
like, but that sounds like, I guess that sounds insensitive, huh. Or like there were times when we would have these like things and now looking back, this sounds so ridiculous, but we would have these little things where we'd have these like church classes where you learn about how to be like a church person. It wasn't called that, but that was what it was to me.
Yeah.
And like they were talking about relationships, and these classes were like, it sounds so ridiculous now thinking about it, but these classes were like you had to take them.
I
So
believe
which
it.
sounds like a cult, right? But this girl was talking about like relationships and how it's so hard not to be in a relationship, and I was just like, why don't you just get a dog? Like, you're like 18. calm down.
Just get a pack of
dog.
vegetables or something. Jesus.
Like if you're like, you seem a little bit like unhinged right now anyway. So like maybe it's not good for you to be with a dude because no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it was, but like I said, people don't like, so I always had a hard time understanding like how to be emotional, how to deal with people on an emotional level. And I've always come off as either stuck up or mean or insensitive. And I actually really want to understand people, which is why I ask so many questions. Like we talk about like how people do things. In fact, I think one of my special interests is how people work.
Yep.
Because I
Understanding
don't,
humans.
I am a people, but I don't understand myself most of the time. So it's like trying to understand like why people do the things they do and why they think the way they think. I just don't always, it's just fascinating to me to like, to think about all that. So
For sure, to put together the algorithm of what it is to be human, and understanding their actions, their reactions, how they think, feel, act, their behaviors that come after those fucking things. It's all complicated and no one's ever the same. And then you got to add on gender, sexuality, religion, race, places in the north or south. I mean, it's a lot to compute all the time. And my algorithm, even as a therapist, gets thrown off. As we know, statistically, sad statistic is right. We diagnosing, a lot of men with autism, not diagnosing a lot of women, but then let's add some intersectionality to it. Now it's like at a clip of like 50% less when it comes to Hispanic women, and then like 30% less also when it comes to Black women. So like, it's just really complicated understanding humans in general, even if we have the terminology.
Yeah.
I know I get international clients. I'm like, I don't know which part of your culture and what part of this is like legit autism. Because I'm like, this isn't normal, but then again, you're from India, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Right.
is this part of does everyone do this, or is this just you? And they're like, I don't know. I was like, oh, that fucking helps.
they have a lot of poisons in India. So
Don't go there.
No, that's good. Now I got to end because a lot of my clients are Indian.
You're like,
go.
you like it? You like the poison?
Just label it paprika.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, also like be mindful. There is a tree known as the suicide tree because the fruit is
Goddamn.
poisonous. The fruit is the seeds are that poisonous.
Okay.
Well, good to know. Won't be going near that tree.
No,
That's for sure.
I mean, be running right towards it.
It's a fascinating plant though. It's a tree. It's very nice.
Interesting.
It's really cool to learn about. Yeah.
So I'm sure it is. I would love to actually dive into it and have you info dump on it. And,
Sorry,
I gotta keep it moving.
That's great.
It's magnificent. So this scene here, the reason why I thought it was magnificent is because of how detailed he was. And so when Becca talks about, this couch, this seat, right? We made some jokes and I was being stupid. I put my therapist hat on. Look at the specificity. Look at where it is. Look at where the heat is. Look where the light is. Look at how far away it is from the door. Maybe I can't see the door, so I don't know if people or intruders are coming in. Like this one's too far away from the room in the bedroom and I can't get to my daughter. So it all starts creeping in. I also never sat in the seat, so now I'm uncomfortable. Now I don't understand. Now there's other humans that possibly could sit in these other two chairs. And if they sit there, then where do I sit? And it's uncomfortable. I'm a big boy. And if I'm a big boy, then I could touch them. So I'd rather sit in this other seat. And it happens that fast in people's minds. And when you talk to an autistic person like us, we're not telling you any of that. We're just telling you, I don't want to sit there. And someone will ask you again, well, just sit there. It's fine. Oh, I don't want to sit there. No, just sit there. It's fine. I don't want to sit there. And then you start to get angry. And now you may have an internal blow up. I might have an external blow up. Now I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to probably sit on you with my entire force and like kick your ass. And so me and my father will blow up. My mother will blow up. My father's more bark, but my mother probably legit come at you and try to kill you. Like straight up. Rest in peace, mom. But she was like legit a fighter. And so we never learned to regulate our emotions, but then we also understand that everyone's like neurodivergent as hell in the family. And so we're like, oh shit, maybe we're not all just like traumatized. Our brains work different. So I wanted to bring that up and how fast and rapid it is, Spencer.
Yeah.
And then pivot to the masking where homeboy, like, I get it. You see someone attractive and you lose all ability to like intellectualize, Like, girl, I drink your dirt bath water. I'll eat your feet.
Here comes the shrimp boat captain. Here we go.
Girl, you look so
Here we go.
good. I'll let you rip my back hair off.
Oh God.
And this actually happened recently where no, not that. I was at this talk. I had to do this mental health talk for a lot of my Latinx students, my Latino students. And I do it every year. I'm never anxious about it, but I end up seeing this gorgeous individual and like, oh, hey Nas, how you doing? I'm like, my name is Bob. And I was saying the dumbest shit to her. And I was like, oh yeah, I know the other people. And she doesn't know that I know the other people that she knows. And it's like, yeah, randomly her other friend who's dropped dead fucking gorgeous too. So these two attractive women. I'm like, why? Why, God, have you done this to me? I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to talk to my kids about mental health and maybe cry a little.
You're like, goodbye, doctorate. There it goes.
Yeah, well,
he's no longer a doctor.
And so, I was like, Bobby, I think Bobby's autistic. She's like, who the fuck is Bobby?
Exactly.
I don't know who Bobby is. Could you just go away? This the
Stop
devil.
looking at me.
This the devil. The devil will try.
Beautiful women are the devil.
And her name was Ophelia. Oh God, how gorgeous is that? Jesus.
Oh, that's a green flag name. I'm just gonna be honest.
I'm like, girl.
It's like in Hamlet. Yeah.
I don't know what ham she's part of, but I want to eat. Oh, let me stop.
I hope she watches this, by the way.
She won't. She's too educated.
I'll send it to her.
She's too educated. You could. She had all her publications in her email. It was the most intimidating email/resume signature I've ever seen. I've never been more attracted in my life.
Was that the girl in Hamlet that unalived herself? Ophelia?
I think so.
True love.
But the reference alone.
Shakespeare.
Hey,
come on.
You're due.
So
Ophelia.
I brought it up because I'm also super weird. It happens. Sometimes you will break your boundaries, which both of you said your boundaries have been broken throughout your entire life. So there's a lot of bonding and commonalities with you two understanding each other. I feel like a lot of autistic folks, it's a common thing. Our boundaries get pushed. We don't even know what the hell boundaries are. We think boundaries are just about allowing people in our lives. But sometimes it's just understanding like what's too much. Like, it's too loud in here, I'm going to leave. It's too hot in here, I don't want to be in here. It's too crowded in here, I don't want to. One time I was on a date. There was some other stuff too. And I walked into the pub and I was like, nope. I left and didn't even like respond, didn't even text her. I couldn't do it. There's too many people. I had my brand new, beautiful shoes on. I'm like, this ain't even happened. She's like, you're a piece of shit. And I was like, yep, I know. And I am. I should have said something. I just had to leave. It was, that was a dumb moment, but there's certain things where I'm just like, I'm not going in there.
Wow.
I'm not going in there. And so
I was there for that, by the way.
He was super weird.
I was. Brought me on I was third wheeling on a date that I had no idea I was third wheeling. He was like, hey man, we're about to go out and,
I don't know,
get
man.
some food.
I didn't even think she was going to show. And then she showed. I'm like, what do I do with this other jackass?
Oh, wait, my fault. My bad.
Yeah. This is my gay partner.
Hi.
Well, this is about to be, I'm going to stop. Yep. I've done this my entire life where I don't like to participate in certain things and people will make fun of me and call me a homebody. And that's because I don't want to be around these people I don't trust unless they're very close friends. We're going to segue this into the next scene and I'll explain it. It's just the truth circle. So Spencer was making a joke when you were talking, Becca, about, you got certain people that you talk to, certain people that you give information, right? And certain people that you love. And everyone else is like, I don't fucking care. Who are you? So I show that scene all the time to people. And they have ADHD that are impulsive, maybe intrusive, that overshare, that overtalk. I was talking to a client today. She's like, Nas, I think I'm saying way too much weird shit. I'm like, yep. And you need to stop telling people that you're smoking weed that aren't your friends because that's how you got fired. You don't need to tell everyone that you're smoking weed. Everyone smokes fucking weed now. You're not cool. You're not cool, girl. And she's like, yeah, I'm not doing it to be cool. I'm like, I know you're not. Just shut up. I get very direct. I loved her a lot in that session. And that time I was like, shut the fuck up. And so we talk about this hierarchy of friendships and communication. When I showed y'all that scene, just want to make sure, did that make sense to both of you? Or was that like the dumbest thing you've ever seen?
No,
No,
100%
yeah,
made sense.
because that's exactly how I always have this sort of orbit type idea in my head of friendships, and it's like there's very few in that inner circle. But I also learned at a young age that when you say things and you overshare, which I still do overshare from time to time, and I always want to kick myself in the face when I do it. But it's like it happens and you don't realize it happens until you leave that situation and you're like, oh, I didn't need to tell them all that. Especially if they bring something up and you just know a lot about that issue and maybe you don't need to tell them everything. But I did a lot of oversharing when I was younger. I think I walked up to this man when I was a kid, and as kids sometimes do this. But my mother, I think I embarrassed the fool out of her because I just went up to him in this video store, and well, he asked me, he's like, "Oh, where's your daddy?" And I literally told him he's shacking up with another woman.
Oh my God.
Because that's, I just what he asked. So that's what I thought was supposed to say.
He's gay now.
But,
Thanks for asking.
But that's definitely not the last time that I overshared. And I had to figure out through embarrassment and, people not wanting to talk to me after that you can't say certain things. And I'm still learning, and I probably will always still be learning about things you can't say or share with certain people. But with I know with Adam, I can say anything. I can say the stupidest things that come to mind. And so because this is my safe zone and with my daughter, because my daughter and we have fun with just saying stupid stuff. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
We get each other and I do have a close friend who is the sweetest person on the planet, and she
is Aaron.
That's true.
Aaron,
Good to know.
the girl version, she's just the kindest person, and she kind of you could say anything to her, and she's just always got your back. And those kind of people are rare, and I know that because I've been around enough people who were like, "You're weird."
She actually functions like body doubling that helps a lot of neurodivergent folks. She does that for Becca a lot.
Yeah, she's like 10 years younger than me, but she always comes over on Fridays just to hang out. We could just sit in a chair and she could read over there, I can read over here in silence, and we're good.
I had students do it all the time when I worked at St. Mary's, my old school. They would just sit in the office with me. I'm like, I can't see you for therapy right now. I got other clients. They'd be like, well, I'll just wait outside. And if they don't show, I'm just going to sit in your office. And I was like, I'm going to do paperwork. I got shit to do. And they're like, I don't care. And I was like, all right, so will you just sit there? I grind out my paperwork and they just be like doodling. And I'm like, and they would still talk to me in info dump. I was like, I don't give a fuck, man. You can say whatever you want. One kid would just put together puzzles. And I'm like, you sure you don't want me to do it with you? They're like, no, you can go away now. You're in my office.
Yeah.
What the fuck you mean?
Get out. It's mine now.
And I think part of it, though, is like you don't have to be anything but yourself when you're with those people. Like that inner circle, you can just not have to put on any sort of mask. And I've never really been great at masking to begin with, which is why in my 20s I needed the alcohol to do it. But I've never been really great at it. But
the kids listening, quiet. You've never touched it.
Yeah. She's seen it. I had a margarita the other night, so
I got the spirits.
Yeah. And probably overshared some then too. Anyway, but so it's knowing, like, I know who that inner circle is for me, because I don't trust a whole lot of people not to think I'm, crazy or weird.
Facts.
Or, so I kind of understand that whole orbital of like, these are the inner circle right here. And people can go back and forth depending on distance and,
proximity, the shit that they do.
Broken and things like that. So like, and I have like and we were explaining this to that friend because he thought like, well, he kept saying my friend this, my friend that. I'm like, you mean that guy you met last week? He's not your friend. And he's like, well, yeah, he is. He's my new friend. And I'm like, no, he's an acquaintance. He has not spent enough time in your life to be a friend yet. There is a certain, you need to have at least a year's experience with me to even be considered like friend, right? Like there's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a process that I think I've built up And I've learned that I've built that up probably for my own safety, I imagine. Like, because,
Yep.
you know, I've
Yeah.
had to deal with unsafe people before.
Mhm.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
And for me, you know, I mentioned before, you know, escaping fundamentalist religion, I had no boundaries. And so I literally read the book called Boundaries, and it was all new information.
It's a good book.
Great
yes, yeah.
book. It took me so long to get through it. I could read like half a chapter, and it would take me 2 weeks just to think about it. I would not be able to pick that book up again
You
because it
had a
was
lot
so
of
shocking.
conversations
It's
with your
heavy.
mom
It was heavy.
Oh,
with that book.
so heavy. You know, it's very. I reached a tipping point to escape that environment, but that's just the starting line for everything you're about to start untangling and actually become a person. And so those boundaries were something I had to actually build from the ground up in order to, you know, protect my mental health, protect my energy, protect my time.
Your
which,
children, your
you know,
partner.
oh man, you have no greater demand on you when you have a spouse and you're raising a child. Like you got to get your stuff together. You
Yep.
got to, because now you have to come through.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's helpful too because now he understands that I can only take so much at one time because their family gatherings typically last hours.
totally.
And we're talking about every single holiday.
Hmm.
And so
Every time there's a birthday among the immediate family, their spouses, or any of the 13 children, they have a
grandchildren,
gathering
yeah,
at my parents' place.
can't do it. Can't do it. There's like 1 month out of the year that y'all don't like do something.
It's this month.
This is
And
why we booked this. This is her one
yeah.
engagement
That's
this month. Yeah.
I don't go to everything either though.
You
Like
can't.
I've already decided that I'm not going to be doing Thanksgiving if I have to do Christmas because
Yeah.
like Christmas is already going to be
Hell.
Christmas is really hard for me, and like people get kind of upset when I say that because Christmas is the best holiday, and like I disagree because people are crap to each other around Christmas. They say that they're not, but they say one thing and then they're completely different. Like they sing songs of joy, and then there's just stress and anger and
Alcohol.
craziness.
Get
right?
into it. Let's get
And
into it.
Then, well, like, but besides that, there's just so much to do. You know,
Yep.
like there's the gift giving, and like, what if I didn't get you as good a gift as you got me, and I got to think about that now. What if you got me a gift and I totally didn't get you a gift? Now I got to go figure that out. And then like, you know, there's all the money that's involved, and then there's
Cooking.
the get-togethers. There's the let's get together and spend 5 hours with each other, and I just can't do it.
You
I
got
can't
to
do that.
dress up, and then people want to wear the same outfits. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm sure I'm going to find a fucking elephant size in that one shirt that you got for my fat ass. Oh, great.
See, I gave up on dressing up. I gave up dressing up a long time ago. I think like for Easter, I wore like yoga pants because I was like,
I'm done with
okay,
this.
it's fine.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think Halloween is a little better.
It is better.
Halloween's
Because
fun.
it's a little more calmer at
It is
least.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Here's
There's
a
candy.
Funny story. On
Free candy.
last Halloween, I was giving out candy, and this little boy knocks on the door, right? And then he goes, trick or treat, just walks into my fucking house. And I was like, and his mama goes, wait a minute, he's autistic. Don't mind him. I was like, he can come in and chill. I don't care. Right?
Get out of here.
Yeah, it was the funniest shit. He's the cutest little thing. I'm like, boy, get out of here. And I was like, mama, if you know he's going to walk in the house, why are you just letting him walk up to some random person's porch? Whatever. I thought it was the cutest thing. I was like, lady, I'm autistic. And I said, so am I. Because I tell people that I'm autistic, right? I've been doing that for a few years now. But yeah, funny stories around Halloween. I love Halloween. I don't ever fit into fucking anything, so I can't actually enjoy it as everyone else. It's like thin, but it's still fun.
It is fun. Halloween's my favorite.
A lot of people love it. Did you used to like that show on Disney, the Halloween Town?
Yeah, and every like all the Halloween stuff, they used to have like the whole like listings like on the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. Like they were like, oh, like a whole list all day of Halloween stuff, and so you get to sit there and just watch Halloween stuff all day. But we I've introduced her to Nightmare Before Christmas and several others. So like if you go in like the Disney Plus thing, they have like all of them right there. So
what's your favorite Halloween movie or show?
Oh gosh.
Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yeah,
Hocus Pocus,
Hocus Pocus is good.
The first one.
Wednesday, the TV series is
Yeah.
insane.
Well, Adam's Family, the 2 old Adam's Family movies, I love those.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
2 old
Classic.
Ghostbuster ones, 2 old
Oh, yeah.
Ghostbuster movies.
Those
They're
are good.
funny.
Classic.
I love those. I watch those year round though.
She does.
I
They're
think
so
it's
favorite.
the Adams Family.
Yeah, you've watched the Adams Family with me.
Halloween is her
Beetlejuice.
Christmas.
I love Beetlejuice too.
Oh,
The old
that's
one.
cool.
Yeah.
Did you
I
see
haven't
the
seen
new
new
one?
yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't yet. I want to though. It's got the same cast pretty much, except for the dad who, was kind of pervy. So that's why he's not in it.
Spence, you got any sauce? Anything that you want to add in this before we get out of here today?
No, I think we're good. Yeah. Are there any promotions, plugs that you want to do for anything? Anything at all?
You can follow us on socials. Studies Show is the handle on TikTok for all of our TikTok content. You can find us on Instagram, Studies Show Music at Studies Show Music. YouTube is actually my name, Adam James. The handle comes from the fact that, like I mentioned, I went through a doctoral program myself, and they taught us about evidence-based practice. Like, you base everything you do based on clinical evidence, clinical data. So our program was teaching us how to clinically consume clinical research, or critically consume clinical research data.
Yep.
So my artist name as an independent musician actually was Study Show, because it's just to play on my experience in school. So that's the handle for TikTok. The podcast that me and Becca do together is called The Poisoner's Almanac. You can find us on all the platforms. And we just started our Patreon for the podcast as well. So if anybody wants to support us there, they can do that. Am I forgetting anything, babe?
No, you're doing great. I didn't
Okay.
really listen to any of that, but you're doing great. Sorry.
Just tuning out the white man. I get it.
I forgot to mention my wife's first book, the Cerulean Curses, will be coming out soon.
Oh, that one.
She's going to be pitching to literary agents soon to see if we can do traditional publishing. May end up doing, self-publishing. We'll just see how it goes. But she's an author. Her first book is coming soon.
He's so confident. I need your confidence.
It'll be coming out. It's not always confident. Sometimes you just know the person that you're with, and you know that it's just a matter of time. We'll follow a couple steps, and it'll get done. He doesn't know exactly when it is going to get done. He just knows it's going to get done. So there's a difference between having hope and he has faith. He has faith because he knows you and he's known you so long, and eventually you will get the shit done. Just like he's still got that paint shit back on the paint tape on the back wall. Eventually he'll get around to it and he'll take it down. I got faith in him. It'll happen.
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
One day.
Real quick.
He's never going to change that tack though.
Never. That tack on the wall is fucking her up. What is your podcast about? We can't just direct people. It's about poison. What's it about?
It's literally about poison.
I love plants overall. First of all, I have a ton of house plants. I'm one of those weird house plant white people that you see on Instagram. Not really.
I see them.
I like. I love poisonous plants though, because maybe it's from a medical perspective as well. Like I used to love everything medicine, which is why I went into nursing. But we talk a lot about different poisons, some you may not have ever heard of, some that may be more familiar, but we talk about how they act upon the body, where they come from. A lot of them are kind of weird. And so it's just fun to talk about them and how they came about, how they evolved to be and why they evolved to be that way. Because even plants have their own way of defending themselves.
Yep.
And so it's just really cool. And then we talk about, there's quite a bit of true crime in there as well, because poison has been around for a long time and people have used poison for a long time.
If you're a true crimer, you're going to love this podcast.
Yeah. So there's that. My daughter's pushing me out. But yeah, there's that. There's a lot of history. I love talking about the history of words, like where did these names of these plants come from and why, and what did the Romans and the Greeks think about them? There's a lot of poisons that have a really long history, and also the medicinal uses of these poisons, because there are some poisons like foxglove that we actually use in heart medications like digoxin. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's this a lot of different things that we've
Just
talked about
full
so
on
far.
nerding out on poisons and other related topics and historical facts.
That's right. It's a hyperfixation for her.
Yep.
And so we just took her hyperfixation and turned it into content.
And sometimes we talk about like this week we're going to be talking about ethanol, so alcohol, but also methyl alcohol or methanol, like basically wood alcohol that was big during the Prohibition, which was actually very poisonous, and how Prohibition just actually made things worse. And you know, kind of the history behind all of that, because you know, we know it was a thing, but a lot of people don't know like where it came from, why it happened, and why it ended. So
okay,
it's
all right.
fun.
I just wanted you to plug that real quick.
Yeah.
Spence, I knew this was going to be a fun one. Did your guys' face hurt? Was it because Becca laughed a few good times, right? I know you did. I got you a couple times.
She did.
See, I smile when I'm amused.
Yeah, I know. I'm quite
I'm
amusing.
glad we amuse you. Black men amuse you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Dance for us, boy. What?
Yes, sir.
As she shoots on her feet.
As a tap dance for you.
Oh my God. Hopefully y'all had a blast. It was magnificent having you on. I'm super glad that my kiddos sent me y'all content.
Totally.
I'm excited to maybe send y'all some folks that are published by publishers, and their books are doing really good on Amazon. So maybe they can help you out. I don't fucking know. As an autistic person, I just like sending resources to people like, hey, I know like 3 others like you. And so I'm like, I'll send you them. I don't know shit about it, but I know someone who knows about it.
Totally. We really appreciate that, man. That's a big help.
Yep. So much love and appreciation. Y'all were fantastic. Becca, I'm glad you made it through all the shit.
Thank you.
Adam, I'm glad that you made it through all the shit too, right? It sounds like that was intense.
It really was.
Yeah, man.
You know, before we kind of hit that tipping point, it was, we were crawling in the dark.
Crawling in the dark, and just all the religious stuff, and then her, right, with all of everything that we deal as being autistic, it's intense.
Yeah.
And you got a beautiful kiddo there, and they seem happy as pigs and poop. So, I mean, like, obviously you did something good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just much love and appreciation.
Thank y'all. Appreciate
All
y'all.
right. Yeah, thank you so much. We'd love to have you back again sometime. Different movie, different show.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the show. I'm Spencer. That's Nas. Different Spectrum Podcast.
All right, everyone. Remember, much love, and remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
That's up to you.
Bye.
I fucked it up, but I still landed
You
it.
always fuck it up.
Well, I'm fucking.
You've been fucking up the last 2 times.
Oh man, I don't know, man. My dad says, my dad's like, when you were born, I knew you were fucked up.
Jesus. Don't bring this on your father.
My mother dropped me as a child. All right, everyone, bye.